Eugene, this has to be one of the most satisfying weekends since you've been doing USC.
Yeah. One of them. There's been so many. There's been so many, Tony, now over all the years we've been doing this at the highest level. So they all get a little bit blurred. But yeah, definitely in recent memory. Yeah, very very satisfying night.
I think a lot of people wouldn't expect you to be at the gym on Monday morning after the fights, but anybody that knows you would. But yeah, you're lined up. You're the only one. The other boys celebrating, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the boys deserve to celebrate. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, I got bigger and better aspirations, and to fulfill those aspirations and complete those goals, get to where I want to go, get everybody to the top. You just got to carry on. You just can't, although sometimes it's good to smell the flowers and roses sometimes, it's never been my style. And I think high achieving people at the highest level of the world set good examples for people like me, and they don't rest on their laurels, and they don't spend too much time, smelling the flowers and resting on what they've done. They move on to what's the next best and biggest and better thing, and always trying to do this. So yeah, that was the kind of mood that I was in. Although I was in a good mood, I was like, what's next? What's the next bigger thing that we need to be doing?
One of the things I noticed here, just there, the end of the session that you're having, you started talking about the fights and letting your pupils ask questions about different things, and some of the questions were really good and like thinking questions. You always do that? Is that something that...
Yeah, to be honest, I always, the thing is, we often, if there's 4 guys fighting or a bunch of guys fighting, we work out a few commonalities amongst the fight camps. So is it going to be a wrestling-based fight or an offensive wrestling-based fight? Is it going to be a fight where the guy's going to put pressure on? Or is it going to be the fight where the guy's going to be more technical? And we try and work out some commonalities amongst the fight, and then we'll focus on that in our team training. And so that way the fighters that are coming up with these important fights, they benefit from that team training. But also the other fighters who don't necessarily have anything to work on are working on those specific things as well and adding them to their game. So all these guys that stay behind, they've had an insight into what exactly we're working on for each different opponent and what we're doing, because they've all been doing it. And so it's really interesting for them to see the fights play out and see all the different strategies and tactics that we've been working on, seeing as though they have been practicing them. And then they're able to ask me questions about, why didn't this work? We were doing this. And so it's very interesting to get to ask them questions, and then I get to answer them. This is why we did that, this is why we did this. And they can correlate it back to their own, training, because they've been a part of it. So it's really cool.
We'll get to Perth in a minute, but a lot of people wouldn't know that you had a fighter in China on the night before, Brodie Mayocchi, and
little bugger made me tired because I had to stay up and watch the bloody thing, but I wanted to watch it. It was a good fight, mate, good fight. Brodie's taking, he's following the lead that, some of these boys have taken, and he's following in their footsteps, travelling the world fighting good opponents. He had a good test. Guy gave him a bit of adversity, gave him something, gave him some specific problems that he had to contemplate. And it was good. He came through and won maybe in the second or third round or something. Third round. So showed some really good qualities that we've been working on. He's taking the right steps that he needs to take to become a very well-rounded professional mixed martial arts fighter.
Uh, go to the big day, and Bear was first up, and well, he delivered. That's all you can say.
Yeah.
He delivered.
Yeah, the big buff head. Yeah, he definitely delivered. Um, he's a heavyweight because he's my biggest headache, my heaviest headache. But he's a very talented young man, and he can go a long way in the sport if he just keeps himself in the gym and keeps his head screwed on. And he's in a scary division, but he's also a scary man. He's an athlete, and he carries some big power. And so, for me, what that fight does, the most important thing that fight does is it buys us time. Each fight buys us time. And that's how these guys' careers work. They buy us a little bit more time. We get to come back onto the mats right here, and we need to work on developing his game. Adding strings to his bow, working on some weaknesses, and just putting it all together. So that's the most valuable thing that fight does for me, is it just gives us more time for Bear to work on his craft. But no, I'm super happy for him. As you know, he's one of these lost souls that come over here from Australia and has been here for quite a few years playing his trade. So it's good to see him accomplish some of his goals. But like I said to him, like, when you're in the UFC, there's only one goal, and you got to get to the gold. So he's got to stay focused on that.
I'm going to talk about a fighter that's not in the team, but you have a lot of time for, and Michelle Montague, and she brought it home too.
Super proud of Michelle. Michelle's just a great person. That's why I have an affinity towards Michelle. Just a good country Kiwi girl from Matamata, from a beautiful family that have worked hard at what they do at their business down there in Matamata, and she just deserves everything that's coming her way. She had a great fight. She, in my opinion, she dominated her fight. Yeah, she dominated her fight. And, the girl didn't really have much for her. Yeah. Michelle faced a little bit of adversity on the feet, but she wasn't in, there's nothing that, she wasn't in any trouble or anything. There was like a bit of a flash knockdown there, but that didn't faze Michelle. She got on with the job, and she just dominated the girl. So, you couldn't have asked for a better debut. Dealt with a little bit of adversity, showed her strength, and put other girls on notice. Like, she's going to be a credible threat to anybody in that division. So yeah, super happy for her and super happy for her family. So can't wait to see more of Michelle in the UFC.
Cam, I was a little bit disappointed when I looked after the show that he didn't get a bonus, because that were, quick turnaround and 2 knockouts.
Yeah, the problem is a couple of boys in his own team kind of stole the bonus off him. So, probably deserved a bonus, but they can't give them to anybody. But yeah, he just mate, the last 6 months for Cam was the craziest 6 months of his life. I've never seen anything like it, Everybody knows about his journey to get to the UFC. It's been an arduous one, but part of that journey is what makes him the fighter he is today. You can't take away any of that journey and say that he would be in the same position that he is now. Every little bit of adversity, whether it be through COVID, whether it be through getting on contenders and getting pulled from contenders, change of opponents, you name it, every little bit has led him to the point that he is now. And now he's relishing in the fruits of his labour, if you like.
What you're saying basically is that if he had the chance to be in the UFC maybe 2 years ago, he wouldn't have that knockout power that he's got now? Or?
No, because one thing Cam's done is he's always turned a negative into a positive, and he's a guy that keeps himself in the gym. It's so easy. Like all my job is to make sure that when these guys come in, is that they're constantly developing and getting better. And if I can do that, and me and my coaches can do that, this is why I say to people like Brando, your job is just to put yourself here, and all the rest will be taken care of. Because me and my coaches will do everything that we need to develop you into the fighter that you want to be or need to be. Yeah, and Cameron does that. And so that's why you're able to see these sort of performances coming out from him. He's developed himself into a complete fighter, and he's very, very clinical at what he does, very calculated.
Nav had to go the distance, but if there was one fighter that you would want to go the distance, it's probably Nav because of his inexperience in the MMA field.
For sure.
And he dominated too.
For sure. I mean, in 3 fights, I think he's got more experience than Carlos had in like 8 fights. You know what I mean? In terms of time in the cage, and that's the positive side of what he does. And Nav's always hard on himself. Nav wants to be the best in the world. Like Nav wants to hold the strap. So I mean, you got to be hard on yourself. But at the same time, sometimes you need to balance it out. So I've tried. I mean, all the coaches have talked to him and told him that there's a real positive side to what he's been doing. And I also think Nav's been a product of just fighting some really tough men. Yeah, that aren't gonna necessarily, just fold.
I think Bellato rose. We've seen him.
Well, I mean, I think the difference between his last 2 opponents and Bellato is night and day. I think his last 2 opponents, they got to a point in the fight where they stopped trying to win the fight and just were like, okay, let's get ourselves to the final bout. And then it can be a negative way to fight because you're no longer trying to win the fight. The goal of the fight for you has become just to survive and not get taken out. So the difference between his last 2 fights and Bellato is Bellato never went into that mindset. Bellato was in the fight to win it from the start of the first round of the first bell to the last bell, and that makes a big difference. And because of that, because of having an opponent like that, Navajo will get far more out of that fight than he will out of the last 2 fights where the guys were just trying to survive. And so I thought Navajo fought a brilliant fight. If you want to know how to fight a very tough guy who's basically very dangerous when you step in, he's going to throw and try and intercept you or throw just after you're thrown, that's a very good fight to watch. Because you're going to see Navajo do exactly what we envisaged him doing, or exactly what the plan was, and just to give you a little bit of insight, that was to mix up his entries and the level of commitment that he was making to those entries, but also to not constantly step back out, to sometimes step into mid-range, into inside range. And so you had that dilemma going on where Navajo would attack and pull back, and Navajo would attack and step in. And once you create that sort of dilemma, it can become very hard for the person to read the counter. And so he was masterful at that. So I thought it was a brilliant fight in that respect.
And of course the big one, it's main event, first time over 5 rounds, and all the hype around it. And Carlos, look, this is what he's made for.
Yeah, awesome. Carlos is, he's had his fair share of adversity in terms of his career and the things that are happening around it sometimes that he's been through. But again, you wouldn't take any of that away because that makes him the man and the fighter that he is today. I took this fight on short notice. Took this fight. I'm not going to talk about it, but he got the fight short notice, and there's some adversity that he had to deal with. He trained well, even though it was short notice. He was very diligent in his training, and we had to throw together a game plan really quickly that he had to understand and adjust to quite quickly, and I feel that he did that. And then I feel because of the work that he put in during the short amount of time that we had and understanding what we're trying to get him to do, he was able to execute that really, really well on the night against a very, very tricky fighter, a very intelligent fighter who's I think Ries's ring intelligence is very underrated. I think he's very smart at what he does. It's not just a big light heavyweight that has got a big power from the left-handed position. He's much more than that. And so we were able to break down some of those things and make sure Carlos didn't fall into a lot of Ries's traps, because that's what Ries is. He's a little bit of a trap setter. And we were able to mitigate some of that and get Carlos over the line.
How did they all come through?
The boys are still partying. I don't know how they did. I got out of there. The boys are being led by one of our wrestling coaches, Frank Hickman, who always leads the charge when it comes to. He takes care of all the logistics on tour, but he also takes care of the after parties as well. So he'll be leading the charge. And then I got Uncle Mike there, making sure that everybody gets home safely and. Gets their head back on the pillow and resting well. But yeah, they would have had a big night. You get 4 wins like that. We're a team, especially when we're in this part of the world, that always put in, 4 guys and 3 guys, minimum of 2. I mean, we had 6 on one card up. You know what I mean? And so when you do that, when you put like 4 guys in, for instance, there's 4 chances to win. But people forget that's also 4 chances to lose. And it's always a funny thing. It's always a funny thing. Back in the early days of the UFC, when we first got into the UFC, we had that scenario many times where we got all the guys wins and 3 guys wins and 4 guys wins. But we haven't done that for a while, and it's a funny feeling because you get 3 guys wins, but then 1 guy misses out. It's like it's kind of a celebratory kind of mode that you're in, but then you also know that the one of the bros missed out, or you get like a 2 and 2. That's great for 2 guys, but then 2 missed out. And so when you put multiple guys in, you're always looking for the full set. We haven't been able to do that for a few years. We've always missed out on 1 or 2. And so it's good to get all 4 guys over the line, because now we all have the same, all of those boys have the same feeling of jubilation amongst them, and the team feels good, and we don't have to feel bad at one of the boys missing out. So I think that's why they're going to have headaches for a week or so, trying to recover from that, yeah.
September, is any chance all, or how many would fight again before the end of the year, or would you say that'll do it?
I reckon they should all fight again. Brando is unscathed. Cameron's unscathed. Navajo's just young, and so he's going to recover fast. And then Carlos, I don't know, because Carlos is at the point now where the next fight that he should be taking should be for the light heavyweight championship of the world. So. He might be the only one that has to kind of sit on his laurels a bit. But everybody else should fight, in my opinion. Why not?
Hey, thanks very much for the catch-up, and congratulations on a fantastic weekend, and yeah, you must be a bit tired yourself.
Yeah, no. Thank you, Tony. I'll get some rest, and thank you for always supporting us, and thank you to everybody. Obviously, especially in this country, we have a band of very loyal supporters, and your support doesn't get just forgotten. It's very well respected in our gym. Anybody that supports us, we're immensely feel immense privilege that you're supporting us, and yeah, please, we hope we keep making you proud, and yeah, keep supporting us. Thank you.
Cool, mate.
Wicked.
Good on you, man.
Thanks, Tony.
Fantastic. Yeah, everybody's smiling today.
Yeah.